and welcome to another Tech Talk with Ricky here at Rickydees Productions. My name is Ricky, and today we got a couple things that happened. Today we had the Note 7 launch along with its new Gear VR, as well as that's the only thing news-wise, but as well I want to reiterate, tell a different story on what I said with my Moto Z in the last Tech Talk, because I finally had a chance to actually hold it, play around with it, and I have a couple different opinions on it. Okay, let's start off with the Note 7. First of all, I want to talk about the design. It's goddamn gorgeous. It's very similar to what you have with the S7 Edge. It's just a lot more rectangle. Like, it feels like a straight up rectangle. So like with the S7 Edge and the S7 proper, you did have a little bit of roundness. This one feels like it's like freaking 90-degree angles on there. Although it is an edge display, it feels like it's a little bit more of a, curves a little harder in the pictures that I've seen. Now this guy is going to be sporting two different processors depending on where you are. If you live internationally, other than the US, it's going to be sporting an Exynos, which is clocked at 2.15 gigahertz. And then if you're living in the US, it's going to have a Snapdragon 820. Now this is going to be paired with its own, GPU, depending on which one you go with. But they're both going to have 4 gigabytes of storage, and they're both of them, which is something that I kind of like, is it's going to have Gorilla Glass 5. Now, one thing about Gorilla Glass 5 that it's actually supposed to be able to take a bit more of a hit, so you should be able to drop this one a little more. Don't drop it, of course, but it should be able to take more of a hit than it generally could before and shatter. Before, Gorilla Glass was really towards scratches. Now it's more towards actual shock resistance, but not, it's not the be-all end-all. So you can still put a screen protector on there if you can, if you like them, of course. Depends on you. Now, like I mentioned, this thing looks awesome, and one thing that's awesome about it is that it's completely symmetrical. So the curve on the back and the curve on the front are completely symmetrical. If you look at it from the side, which I'll have a picture here, it is a complete copy of each other on both sides. Now they also come with 4 different colors. They come in gold, the silver, which I really like, blue coral, which is brand new, and of course black onyx, which is just your black. I wish they brought like white, but I like the blue coral. One thing I really want from Samsung to bring back is the emerald color from the S6 Edge, because that was a beauty, and I loved it. Hopefully we get all the colors here in the US, although US carriers suck, and I didn't see any news about an unlocked version. Maybe 6 months from now, but not yet. Anyways, one big thing that we've never seen in a Note line before is that it's now water resistant, and so is the S Pen. So that's kind of something that they had to work on, because since you have a huge gaping hole in your device, you gotta waterproof that thing. So it's waterproof the S Pen, so you can go with the S Pen underwater, and the phone as well. It's IP68, so 5 feet for 30 minutes. Another thing that they really focused on a lot was the new iris scanner. So it actually detects your eye, but more than just a picture like face capture from Android. It actually it's like a special camera can tell how your eye is actually constructed. So I think it's kind of weird, but it should be cool. Hopefully it's quick. That's one thing that's all I care about, honestly. I hope it's quick, and it might be useful. You still have the fingerprint sensor on there, so I'd probably just use the fingerprint sensor. This, of course, is sporting a 5.7 Quad HD display. Wasn't surprised there. One thing I was surprised by is the battery, which is 3,500 milliamps, which is slightly smaller than the S7 Edge. Now I think it's 3,600 in the S7, 3,600 in the S7 Edge. Now I think the reason that it's a bit smaller is because the S Pen's taking up a bit more space in there. But that's fine. Let's talk about the S Pen, they brought a couple cool new features which I really liked and I want to talk about here. First of all, they decreased the size of this thing. It was 1.6 millimeters before, and now it's 0.7 millimeters for even more defined writing experience. So it's even more, you know, specific where you're going. It's even smaller. 0.7 millimeters. That's so small. It also has a built-in eraser now. You press the button and then you can erase anything that you've written, which is really nice. It's almost like the Surface one where you can flip it around. It also has this new oil brush feature, and it's like in the drawing app, which you can actually like mix two colors together, which I thought was a pretty cool feature. And then they've also done a really cool thing, which I thought I never thought of it, but it's just so simple and smart idea. They actually consolidated all their S Pen apps, so like Memo and Samsung Memo and S Note and all those different things. They all just kind of put them into one and then just named it Samsung Notes. So instead of 4 different icons for 4 different apps, you just have one and it has all features inside of there, which is a really cool feature. And really, like, that's just smart. Like, wow, I can't believe I never thought of that. And also, a new cool thing is that if you highlight words, if you're like reading a foreign web page, you can actually have it Google Translate for you. And now you can also pin notes that you write always on display. So you can take out your pen, write something immediately, and then if you have a feature on, it'll have always on display. Will just keep on displaying that note that you wrote, which is really cool. So you won't ever forget that you wrote that. They also mentioned, and kind of just didn't even pay attention, you can put any image on the always on display. So I thought that was a pretty cool feature, which they should have probably talked about a little bit more. Hopefully it comes to the S7 too, so you can kind of customize that always on display. Since right now it's cool, but it's really not robust or anything. Now, my favorite part about the new stylus features is this. You can create a GIF of anything. You can just select with your S Pen, and it'll record for a couple seconds, and boom, you got a GIF. So if you have a YouTube video you really like and you want a GIF of it, just and done. Which I thought was a really cool feature. They shot they threw some shade at Apple. They're like, they actually said, we don't sell our stylus separately, and we also don't make you charge it. Which throwing some shade at Apple for their pencil, the Apple Pencil. So I thought that was hilarious. Another thing is that it has the same exact camera as the S7. They actually said S7 brought the best camera out, so we get the same one. So it has the exact same camera. This time actually though, it can take HDR video. They really focus on this HDR video thing. They have a new video processor inside the phone, which actually helps battery out when you're playing HDR video, which is really nice. And you can take HDR video, watch HDR video, which is really nice, especially if you have one of the new 4K HDR TVs. So if you like watching your own content on TVs, it's pretty good. They also mentioned Vulkan again, which I haven't really seen too much, but they did show some games this time that actually are taking advantage of the Vulkan APIs. I think True Valor or something like that was taking advantage of it, and they also said Unreal Engine is doing it. So I thought that was really cool. And they also mentioned that they're also doing a Galaxy Game Pack, which is giving away exclusive in-game prices. You'll probably have to wait to get your actual Note 7 to see what prices they'll be giving out. In terms of storage, this is my favorite part. 64 gigabytes of onboard storage as your base, so you can't go lower than that. So that's really awesome. And they brought back expandable storage, of course. So up to 256 gigs. It's SCXC, so anything with XC on there, it'll be able to take. 64 gigabytes is what internally is though, and that's awesome. I'm glad they did that, since I believe OnePlus 3 actually did that with theirs, and they're like 64 gigabytes is the base storage, which I think is awesome. Hopefully Apple will retaliate with that as well. They also brought something that I'm glad they did. It's USB-C, so it's finally here. One thing they did announce is that with every box in the Note 7, you'll actually be getting a little adapter which goes from USB to USB-C, so any of your old accessories won't just become obsolete immediately. Now you can't buy extras of these like on Amazon, but I'm glad that they actually are implementing that into the box, so that way you're not kind of lost with, oh crap, I don't have anything anymore. Which I think is awesome, and I wish more did that. They also joked during this portion that it has an audio jack. throwing some shade at Motorola, which we'll get into later. I thought that was so funny. And then they also mentioned that they are bringing out Samsung Cloud. It's so you can back up your information on there. It's just another cloud service. It's 15 gigabytes of free storage. So I mean, if you don't have one yet, I guess you could get Samsung's Cloud, I guess. They also really, again, they were really on security this time, although they never mentioned any security updates monthly or anything, which I still wish they would. But anyways, they did mention security. They have this new secure folder option. So this is kind of just locking your apps and locking certain things that you don't want other people to see. You can use your iris scanner to be able to do that. It also, they are implementing a new Samsung Pass, which is a password manager. It's kind of like LastPass, where it has all your passwords. You just put that app on there and it's like that. Which I think is really cool. You can use the iris scanner for that as well. They're already working with like 6 bank, and I know Bank of America is working with them, and a couple other ones already working with them to actually implement that LastPass into their apps, which I think is cool. Again, that iris scanner, really, it popped up a lot of times. And then they said it's releasing August 19th, so it's pretty quick. He said that pre-orders should be popping up soon as well. It's the 2nd, so 17 days, in less than 2 weeks they got this thing out, which is awesome, and how every phone manufacturer should be, because you don't want your hype to die, which happens with a lot of them. Like LG did that, and so did Motorola. They also did that. Like, hype dies. You need to push this thing when it's ready, and actually announce it when it's ready. And then on to my next thing, which is the new Gear VR. It's got this new sleek black look. I really like it. It actually looks like the one that came with the Batman version of the S7. So I think I really like it. One cool thing is that it's backwards compatible. So if you have an S7 and you're like, okay, I want to go buy a Gear VR, finally, after 6 months of owning this thing, you, as a customer, can go buy the new one and still use it, because even though USB-C is replacing the old one, they are interchangeable, so you can actually throw in whichever one you actually need. So you can throw in a USB or a USB-C. I think that's the best thing ever. I love that. And it's supposed to just be, in general, better. They also brought in a USB-C connection to the actual Gear VR, so you actually can put in accessories, and that actually should improve the experience, depending on who actually takes advantage of this. And third party, and you know, the Oculus Gear VR store is actually pretty big, pretty getting robust lately, and I really like it. So I'm hopefully that USB-C connection actually brings a couple cool stuff. Now I want to talk about this Note 7, and I have a weird experience with it. I don't have any experience with it, but I want to talk about this guy. It's something different. It's something different because and it started with the Note 5. It isn't what it was before. The Note was always, to me, this line where it's like, this is the freaking barrier of what we can do this year. And it's really changing. The S7 now kind of defines the barrier, and the Note 7 is kind of just changing some things up and also implementing that pen. What I think the Note line is just going to be is just bigger device with a stylus. It's all it's becoming to be. It's because it's almost exactly the S7 package. A couple different UI tweaks where the settings have changed a little bit, and it's probably going to get nougat soon, hopefully. Maybe not, but it's not much different than the S7. So if you like the S7, like before in years past when the S5 and the Note 4 came out, I was like, oh, well, to me, the Note 4 is way better than the S5, right? Now you really don't have that. They're very similar. It just really depends if you want that pen and that iris scanner. So I think it's very different, although very similar since we've already seen the S7. I don't welcome the change, honestly. I want something different. I want you to push what phones can be, But that won't happen because people like the S7. Anyways, they also did skip the Note 6. They didn't even address it, but they did. Just keep in line with the S7, which I understand. makes the note, if an S6 releases the S7 then releases, it just sounds old. Anyways, onto my old friend Motorola, which I dissed a couple months ago when the Moto Z was announced. And I said, wow, that phone is so ugly on the back. It's so, oh my gosh, you have this huge camera module and it's like disgusting and it should never happen. Okay, it finally released actually to retail stores. I went to go check it out at Best Buy. And damn, that thing felt nice. It has a really nice back. It's super thin. The buttons are clicky, although they are kind of high up on the right, which kind of sucks, and because it's already a big phone, and they're already like super high on the top end with the highest it can be, which is stupid. But it looks nice. Like I looked at the back and I checked out the modules with it. It's so much better than the G5 did it. Obviously, I already told this to you guys, but it's so much better than that. You just put it on there, 5 seconds, it's good to go. I love that. The Pico projector worked, the fucking speaker worked, and they had a battery pack that also worked. And it's just immediate. No work. I love that. That's how all modulars, things should be. It should be immediate. It should be quick. I shouldn't have to turn off my phone. Anyways, I like the design. And what I dissed beforehand, what I mainly dissed on was the back. But my opinion has changed now. And what is ugly about this phone is actually the front. This thing has the biggest fucking chin I've ever seen in my life. It has a tinsy little speaker on the top, which kind of disappointed me since they already had really awesome speakers, and at least it's front facing, I guess. The front is just ugly. I bet it looks terrible in white. I only saw it in black, but you know, it's still ugly. I still probably, I don't know. I actually really like the phone, so I might actually try it out when it ends up coming out unlocked, since it is with Verizon for another 3 months, which is still dumb. Okay, I think I should end the video now. Anyways, if you have any questions, comments in the comment section, make sure to write those. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to see more, and I'll catch you in the next one.